Hello. Hi. I'm some guy on the internet. Recently, I played on my Twitch stream Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. I, until then, have never played this game. In fact, until NitroRad made his first, or until I started watching NitroRad after, but, until I watched NitroRad's first video on it, well, that's, again, not true. I had a friend tell me about it, but I didn't know anything about it until, I knew that it existed. It's midnight. I had a friend tell me about this game. However, I knew literally nothing about the style of game that it was until I watched NitroRad's first video on it, the one where he says it's painfully mediocre. Well, that's the PS2 copy back there. I have some thoughts about this game. This is coffee. We're going to be here a while. So I'd like to start out talking about the environment, because honestly, that is probably the one thing that I have the best to say about it. The environments were colorful. They were pretty varied. You got to see red deserts and you got to see beautiful ocean. They call it the Great Barrier Reef, but I didn't see no coral. You get to see, rainforests. This game takes you all over the place, and you can tell this is an early PS2 game made by a lower budget studio, but it doesn't look bad. It's very colorful. The word I cannot use to describe it, and it could be me using a modern TV through an HDMI switcher, converter switcher. But I can't really use the word bright to describe this game. I actually had to up the brightness both on my TV and on my Elgato, on my capture card. I just punched the mic. It is now officially one of my videos. Yeah, this game was incredibly dark. Anytime that I was trying to play without having the brightness turned up to where my retinas were literally in danger of falling out, I couldn't see most things. In fact, there were several collectibles that I did not know how to get because I just couldn't see, or I got I got sacked by a lot of enemies that I would have been able to react to otherwise. There's this one level where you're playing, you're going through the rainforest, and in puddles of water there are little purple leeches. However, they are a dark purple, and they blend in quite nicely with the surrounding area. So until I upped the brightness on my TV, I had no idea what was going on. I was just getting hit from nowhere. But I was told that the GameCube version was actually quite bright, so it could just be the fact that it was the PS2. I don't know. Doesn't change the fact that my personal experience was very dark. Most of the characters I liked, most of the level themes I liked, right? Because there aren't a whole lot of games that take place in Australia. Me being an American, I get no exposure to it. Except for from really bad movies or from the odd documentary that's like, oh, the Great Barrier Reef is pretty much all dead, which, considering I did eventually want to go and take photos of it, I am actually legitimately upset about that. There are a lot of things in this game that I did not like. Specifically, there were about I'll say 6 things. 6? How many levels were there? 9? There were 9, I think. Yes, there were 9. I liked 3 of them.
Cuffed.
I'm not joking. So, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger came out in mid to late 2002. I can't be to. This is It's a family-friendly channel. Can't swear. I can't be bothered to look up the exact release date, if I'm being honest. Something I did find the exact release date was for Jak and Daxter and the Precursor Legacy. And I actually did that live on stream. That video is currently on my gaming channel, the clip from that. But I basically went into this whole tirade, and I'll kind of shorten it here. The levels are way too big. They made 10, because we have to include Cass's ending level. They call it Cass's Pass, and the joke made itself. A lot of these levels were just way too big. I mean, legitimately way too big. There's a level that you play early on. It's part of the second area. I believe it was the fourth level I played. It's called Snow Worries. And it is this giant area that is like split into 3 parts. You've got a starting area around a house with a koala that you have to find her kids, which is fine and dandy. Then there's a center portion that is basically a lake that's been frozen over, and you have to go underwater for a little bit. And okay, that's fine. And then you have this hill where you are going up and climbing towards a mill on the top of this hill. And this was all in one level. And let me tell you, it was a huge level. It took almost 3 minutes to traverse from one end to the other. And there were still paths. It took me forever to find the last literally 6 main secondary collectibles, which are I compare them to the precursor orbs in Jak and Daxter, but they call them opals. And I made this connection quite a bit as well. There are too many similarities for me to ignore. And this is something that NitroRad did not go over. I have not watched enough other reviews of this game to see if if people have noticed this. And I have to give NitroRad a pass because he's never played the Jak and Daxter games. Fine. I see this game as a worse level-based Jak and Daxter 1. And I say this because there are just too many similarities. In every level in Tai, there are 5 Billibies that you have to collect to gain a primary collectible. These Thunder Eggs are basically the power cells in Jak and Daxter. Well, you have 5 Billibies to get a Thunder Egg. In Tai, 5 Scout Flies to get a power cell in Jak. Coincidence? Possibly. Within every level, there's 300 opals. Now, this is where it kind of strays a little bit. 300 opals gets you if you collect all 300, there's not more than 300, there's exactly 300 in all 9 levels. That nets you a Thunder Egg. Of course, sometimes you can get an extra power cell from folks in, like the NPCs in the Jak games, if you exchange with them precursor orbs. But the conversion rate's a little different. It's kind of in that... It's a little weird. I have to try... I'm going to have fun editing this. Tai does not control quite as well as Jak. With Jak, Naughty Dog actually took advantage of the analog face buttons where, if you just lightly tap it, he only kind of does a little bunny hop. If you slam on it, he leaps 5 feet in the air. But what Chrome did, because they were not just developing for the PS2, is they had one set jump arc. It took me a long time to get used to how Tai controlled, how he jumped. Just a lot of things. The camera control, I never got used to that.
Cuffing.
Because it's a weird, it's normal camera control for that era, but it's what I would refer to as inverted camera control, and I really hate that. A lot of these levels were maybe only a little too big. My mind immediately goes to Bridge on the River Tai, which is a great pun, by the way. Great pun. I actually really like this level. My favorite one as far as the theme, as far as the design of it itself. There was one jump that I had a hell of a time getting, and that's because in this game there are so many jumps that are so precise, even though you truly have very little control over Ty. They put some spots just a smidgen too far for the average person to be able to get it, unless you've played a Spyro game and you have the phrase, remember Spyro, to get your longest glide, press the X button at the top of your jump. If you don't have that phrase ingrained in your mind by both a freaking cheetah, a fawn, and multiple fairies, you may not have a good time with these jumps. And my screen is off again. Some of these levels in this game, in Ty 1 specifically, they definitely could have been chopped up. I said it after I finished the game on stream. I really do think that the game would have been better, and I would have been less frustrated with it 100% completing it. I will qualify that. I 100%ed this game. It would have been much less frustrating had I not done that. But I personally believe that the game would have been much better for it if either they fully emulated Jak and Daxter and went with a more open world design, or, hear me out, they took their larger levels and split them into 2 or 3 levels. I would have been happier playing 30 shorter levels than 9. I legit spent an hour to 2 on some of these levels trying to complete them. And with Bridge on the River Ty, there is a long stretch of area before you even get to where the bridge is. And granted, where the bridge is basically just a giant bowl, but it was full, right? That's another issue that I had with the level design, is a lot of it was just empty. And this was before you go around and collect everything and kill everything. It was just really empty level design. And I think if they had just tightened it up, shortened some of the levels, split some of the levels, another thing they could have done if they wanted to emulate more of the Super Mario style is they could have broken it up a little bit better. Maybe reduced some of the Thunder Eggs there were to collect. I have to echo a sentiment that Nitro Rad had in both of his videos on this game. Instead of requiring all 300 opals to pass, or even if they wanted to still keep the number at 300, not make it to where you had to collect every opal. So if you wanted to keep the number at 300, because that's a nice round number, put 500 opals in a level, or even just 4. Or reduce it to keep the 300 per level, but only make you have to collect 100 or 150. That way you don't have to go and search for 2 hours for the last missing opal that just so happens to be in the water where it's blue, where all the walls in the water are also blue, and also the walls are moving because you're underwater, and Chrome thought it was a great idea to make everything warp and wiggle while you're underwater. No, I am not upset about that. Honestly, I really do think most of my gripes with this game come down to that level design philosophy that they had. I kind of want to play Ty 2, but I don't want to play it right now for a multitude of reasons. A, I don't own a copy of it. B, that's not even my copy of Ty 1. And C, I kind of don't have an income, so I can't buy the Steam version. So, that's a thing. Support my OnlyFans? If I had one. That's a joke. I don't have an OnlyFans yet. Really do believe that a lot of these things, even if they only kept, or if they wanted to keep everything, make it to where you didn't require every single Thunder Egg, or every single opal to get all the Thunder Eggs. Now, my fear is even if they did that, they'd still require you to collect all the opals for the 100%, which, oh boy, that 100% bonus was absolute naff, complete garbage. I don't even know if there was one. Apparently, it's the reveal that there's a Robo Tiger or something, like a Mecha Tie. Great. If that was the 100% bonus, whatever. It was to honestly believe that Ty is a strictly worse version of Jak and Daxter and the Precursor Legacy. There's just too many similarities for me to ignore. I don't know how these similarities got in there, because obviously these games were in development at the same time. Jak only came out, a few months prior. But it's still really, really weird that there's that much similarity between the two games, and yet Ty is so much worse. Now granted, if I was a kid, when I was a kid, I had Jak and Daxter and Jak 2. I have not completed either of those games. I'm now 24. I got them when they first came out. And that's mostly on me. I get frustrated and flustered very easily. I have to be very bullheaded and set a goal for myself to actually finish a game, let alone 100% a game. I only recently, within the last few years, completed the Spyro games, or the first one. I still haven't done 2 and 3 yet. But if I was a kid, I definitely would not have been very happy to get Ty. I would have found it extremely frustrating, and honestly, I would have probably set it down and then never come back to it. There's just something about the controls that's inherently frustrating to me. And again, I'm spoiled because I had to be a lot pickier with my games, so I vetted them a little bit better. I mean, I went with Resident Evil 4 over Happy Feet, so I guess I had some good amount of judgment there, because we're still playing Resident Evil 4, another game I've never completed, but my brother has on several occasions. I'm almost out of coffee, so I should probably wrap this up, huh? These are just my first impressions on it. I'm going to sit down a little bit more, think of it a little bit more, and actually write out a very well thought out and probably slightly better researched article than this. That article will be narrated and posted on this channel at some point this month, hopefully, but also put in text form on my website. That is cheesefry.com. That is CHIZFRI.com. My first blog post, my first article is already on there, and it is titled, Why Do We Remember Shadow of the Colossus? That is the technically third entry into the Blind to Nostalgia series. This will be the fourth entry. However, the first two were podcasts. I only made one of them the proper way. The other one is more like just me rambling for an hour about medieval. The first one was me rambling for 30 minutes about A Night in the Woods. I may actually need to post those to my website now that I think about it. I should probably do that. But anyway, go ahead and head over, read my article on Shadow of the Colossus. If it's something you like, maybe bookmark it, subscribe, like this video, and the full Blind to Nostalgia for Ty the Tasmanian Tiger will come out later this month. I will also be gearing up this month to do another game that recently got a remake that I've never played before, and oh boy, this one's going to take me a while. So hopefully you stick around, and I'll see you next time. Later.